play to win.
This is what we fought so hard to get to.
Ballers go hard all day. Winners don't cry, they
ridiculous finish, unreal. Three, money.
I could do it in my LV Jets, glossy, and the highlights fantastic.
History for the Fever rookie. 1,000 points. The first in WNBA history.
I feel like we're just forming a dynasty here.
That's how you make your mark.
Had a call for the real ones, ballin'.
It's championship time. This is the WNBA playoffs.
We plan on putting on a show.
The WNBA playoffs are set. Here are the top storylines just for you. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston making their playoff debuts as the 6th-seeded Fever take on the 3rd-seeded Sun. Indiana hasn't won a playoff series since 2015, the longest drought in the league. The Liberty are the top seed after one of the best regular seasons in franchise history. New York seeking its elusive first title. It's the only original WNBA franchise without a championship. And the Aces of the 4th seed attempting to get their first championship three-peat since the Houston Comets four-peated from 1997 to 2000. The 2021 Sky are the only team lower than a 2 seed to win a championship. Monica McNutt is back with us. Monica, the Aces went 3-1 against the Storm. I see you already. Get your fingers ready.
I'm so excited, Jay.
You both. The Aces went 3-1 against the Storm this season. What do they need to do in the postseason to build on that success?
Well, one thing about the Aces, when you look at their split pre and post Olympic break, they were 5-6 when it talked about clutch time performances pre-Olympic break. Post-Olympic break, 4-2. They ended up playing in less clutch games because they were able to separate themselves in the 3rd and 4th quarter just enough. And a ton of it had to do with Chelsea Gray getting back to form. To start the season, she wasn't available, working her way back from the injury, and the Aces looked like they missed their point guard. Chelsea Gray is back in the fold. Asia Wilson, monster numbers, MVP calendar year. The two of them in particular, Jay, their championship pedigree and their chemistry together set the table for this entire Aces squad.
It's going to be a good series. Speaking of, the Fever get the Sun in the first round in another series. The Sun won 3 of 4 against the Fever this season, including the Commissioner's Cup. What's going to be the biggest challenge for Caitlin and everyone else in that team this postseason?
Listen, their offense, they have a beautiful identity. I think the challenge is going to be on the defensive end when you talk about playoff basketball. Yes, the WNBA has dropped in a few back-to-back matchups during the course of the regular season, but the playoffs is a beast unto itself, and the Connecticut Sun are very familiar with it. In fact, the team and an organization that's been to the finals a number of times in the past few seasons. And so defensively, the Fever are going to have to lock in. We talk about Alyssa Thomas, Dejanay Carrington, Ty Harris, DeWanna Bonner. They have to stay focused. But offensively, they should look to continue to play with pace. When you look at that last matchup that the Fever were able to beat the Connecticut Sun, they moved the basketball quickly. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell got a total of 6 uncontested shots by our stats metrics, and that was because of the ball movement and the pace that they played with. Indiana wants to play fast. Connecticut wants to make you sit down and defend. So the Fever are going to have to lock in defensively and not be pushed off the way they want to play offensively.
Let's get it. I cannot wait. Monica McNutt, appreciate you breaking it down. Thank you.
The final seeding has been set. Let's get a preview of what we're in store for the WNBA playoffs. For more on this, let's welcome in analyst Tarika Foster-Brasby. Tarika, it's great to see you. Let's start with Caitlin Clark. She's making the playoffs in her rookie season. Her first test, though, a matchup with the 3-seed Sun. How do you see this series playing out?
Well, this should be an interesting series. This team is really coming into the playoffs on a high note. They have played well, specifically since the Olympic break, and they have given a lot of contender teams a run for their money, including this Connecticut Sun team. Now, the Sun did win the series 3-1. However, 3 of those matchups did take place before the Olympic break when Indiana was still trying to figure itself out. The good thing, though, for Connecticut is that, 1, this is a home matchup. Number 2, they are also coming into the playoffs on a high note, winning their final regular season game against Chicago. And they're very familiar with how this Indiana team works. So it should be an interesting matchup. I honestly think this 3-6 matchup is probably going to be the most interesting of all of them. Yeah. But Caitlin Clark has a test ahead of her. She'll more than likely once again be guarded by Dejanay Carrington, who did a really good job on her the first 2 times they met. So this should be an interesting matchup for sure.
Definitely going to be a series that a lot of eyes are on. Let's now check in with the 2-time reigning champs, the Las Vegas Aces. They play in the 4-5 matchup against the Seattle Storm. MVP favorite A'ja Wilson and the Aces trying to do something that only one team has done in WNBA history, and that's three-peat. Can they get it done?
Gosh, well, I mean, can they? Sure, they can. Will they?
Another question.
Different question. And that's simply because, one, you do not ever want to count out the defending champions. They've shown us more than once this season that the moment that people begin to think that they are in an improbable situation, they find a way out of it. And A'ja Wilson has been the catalyst for this team, both offensively and defensively. She has had the kind of season that we have never seen before in this sport. Probably the best individual season that we'll ever see in this sport. And so when you have someone like her that is really driving your team, the leader of your team, you make it very easy to make a case of being able to three-peat. And when you also look at the path that they have, it's not an easy one, right? Seattle is a team that is going to bring it. Yes, they've been down in this season series against Las Vegas, but they're going to bring it. They have pride. They have something they're going to play for. But the potential semifinals matchup between the Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty is something that I know everyone is going to be watching. If they are able to get past that series, pending New York is who they face, they make a very strong case about being able to three-peat.
Well, if any team's going to do it, I have confidence it's going to be the team that has A'ja Wilson on it. So it's going to be fun to watch. Meanwhile, the Dream clinched the final playoff spot after beating the Liberty to earn a first-round date with the top-seeded Liberty. How does Atlanta really have enough, though, to knock off New York in a 3-game series?
That is the key right there, a 3-game series, because what happens is when you're playing in a series, you give another team the opportunity to not only watch film, but make adjustments, knowing that you have an opportunity to get back with them the very next game, which is something that you don't have in the regular season. Atlanta has played this New York team tough in the regular season before. However, it is very different when you have Sandy Brondello that's back there watching film and giving her team the keys of how you adjust to what they may throw at you. Ryan Howard is going to be amazing in this series, I believe, and as well as Jordan Canada. Jordan Canada has really been the difference for this Atlanta team when she rejoined that lineup, giving them an additional guard, an additional ball handler. Naz Hillman has also done an incredible job filling in the absence of Cheyenne Parker. And so this Atlanta team is going to come in feeling that they have a lot of confidence and that they are ready. But this is an experienced New York Liberty team. They do have home court advantage. They know what it's like to be here. And they are also on a mission to regain what they lost last season, which is a championship in the finals. So you got to think that New York is probably going to have the edge in this matchup, but I don't think it will be for lack of effort on Atlanta's part.
Okay, Tarika, let's say the Liberty and Aces do make it out and they see each other in that semifinal match. I know you're like, okay, I gotta put you on the spot here. Who do you like in that matchup if that does come to fruition?
Well, I will say who I like today may be very different than who I would like had that matchup actually happen. But I will say who I like today is I do like the New York Liberty. I just think the New York Liberty as a team has played a bit better here down the stretch. And I also just feel like the way that Sabrina Ionescu has really shown up offensively, the way that Breanna Stewart continues to be a defensive mind for this team, it feels like they are the team that's a little bit more hungry at this point. But also, all I'm doing right now is giving the Las Vegas Aces some bulletin board material for them to say, we're going to come out listening to Tarika to make sure she's wrong. So next week, this could be a totally different analysis, and Las Vegas could very well be the team that looks the best heading into a semifinal matchup.
You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. All right, lastly, this could be the last time that we see Diana Taurasi on the court. She recently came out to say to reporters, the end is near. If it is the end, she gets a tough draw facing one of the hottest teams in the W entering the postseason. First round play begins on Sunday. What is your take if this is the end for Diana Taurasi?
Heck of a career.
Yeah.
Literally one of the GOATs of women's basketball, one of the GOATs of basketball. I mean, she is the white mamba for a reason, and it would be a bittersweet day, right? We continue to see that the torch is being passed from the players that we've grown up to love and see versus the newer players that are coming in and really taking over. And there is a change of the guard. And so if this is Diana Taurasi's last game, then hey, she's going to put on a hell of a show, and she's going to have a tough time doing it because that Minnesota Lynx defense is stout. And they are going to do
that. We have a new general manager in the college ranks. Adrian Wojnarowski left ESPN after 7 years and is taking the job as the GM at his alma mater, St. Bonaventure. You worked with Woj on NBA Countdown. You go way back with Woj as a general manager in the league. Bob, do you have any advice for him as he's heading into this?
Well, I couldn't even handle being a GM, Malika. So what advice would I have? But to Adrian, he is one of the best people I've ever worked with. He's one of the best people I've ever met. I will miss him. I will miss him here. In between being on TV, there's so much time that you know and I shared. And you can say, when we had a conversation yesterday, he's irreplaceable as a talent, as a person. I will miss him, but I will stay his friend. I don't have a ton of friends, but I would count him as one of them. And
I'm your friend, Bob.
But okay. We can work on our relationship. We don't know it. We got to go through a little bit more. You know, Woj is 25, 30 years.
Okay.
But we are friends. You're right. We got a championship together.
Bob just denied me a national.
No, I did not. We're friends. But in this segment, Woj, love you, happy for you. Any GM advice that he needs, I'm here. I don't know how to be a college GM. I know how to be a professional GM. But the college now is becoming professional.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you for your stewardship. And people don't realize with Woj, how many people would just call him for advice? Just advice. Everybody thinks it was a quid pro quo. You know, you're scratching my back, I'm scratching yours. He did so many things for so many people with nothing in return. And that's the part of him that I want people to be aware of and know. But I will certainly miss him. And but I have you now, apparently. I got you.
I got you.
So many folks get to see Woj the Insider. We know Woj as our friend and teammate, and we're certainly going to miss him here. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame extended their congratulations to Adrian, saying in part his contributions to the game, they've been instrumental in shaping the basketball landscape. And we look forward to seeing him with his St. Bonaventure squad at the Basketball Hall of Fame showcase this December.